Olivia, he got mad at me again today. Her voice was shaky as she hugged her books to her chest, eyes darting nervously down the hallway. Frowning in concern, Jungkook, what happened this time? I failed my test again. She sighed heavily, kicking at the floor with the tip of her shoe. He said I should stop wasting time and focus more. He made me feel like I'm some disappointment or something. Olivia crossing her arms thoughtfully, that's harsh, but knowing him, it's probably his weird way of cueing. He knows you're smart, wine. Her lips trembling slightly. It didn't feel like here. Liv? He just looked at me so coldly, like I was a kid who messed up again. I tried so hard, but the questions were so confusing. Olivia reaching out to gently hold Vine's hand. You listen to me, okay? You're not a failure, and you're definitely not helpless. You're kind, smart, and you try harder than anyone I know. He doesn't see it because he's too busy being Mr. Ice Prince. But what if he hates me? He didn't even say anything when he told him I was sorry. Just walked away. Jungkook doesn't hate you, he's just terrible at talking. He probably feels bad but doesn't know how to show it. And you, she poked Wine's cheek playfully to break the tension. Need to stop stressing so much. It's not good for your baby, remember? Wine wiping the corner of her eyes with her sleeve. I know, but it's hard, Olivia. I wish he was just a little warmer. Olivia with a determined smile. He's the one missing out if he can't see how lucky he is. Now, come on, let's go to class before the teacher locks us out. They turned toward the classroom, chatting lightly to distract Wine from her thoughts. But as they rounded the corner, Wine's heart dropped. Jungkook was walking toward them, his dark hair falling messily over his forehead, and his sharp features as unreadable as ever. Jungkook, his gaze swept past her, cold and indifferent. He didn't even show any emotion as he walked by, his footsteps echoing down the hall. Her smile faltered as she turned back to Olivia. Guess he's still mad. Olivia watching Jungkook's retreating from with a slight frown. Don't let it get to you. Wine, you're doing your best and you will figure this out. Come on, we will ache this class together. Taking Olivia's reassurance to heart, Wine took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and followed her best friend to class, determined not to let Jungkook's coldness break her spirit. He is ignoring me, she whispered to Olivia as they slipped into their seats near the back of the classroom. Jungkook had taken his usual spot at the front desk, his back straight and his head tilted slightly as if he could feel their presence without looking. He didn't turn around, not even once. Olivia leaning closer to Wine, whispering to her ear, he's just being his usual cold, mysterious self. Don't overthink it. Flashback. Wine stood nervously in Jungkook's study, clutching her test paper with trembling hands. The glaring red F on the page felt like a weight of dragging her down. Jungkook coldly standing behind his desk with arms crossed. How can you fail such a basic test? Are you even trying at all? I studied, I really did, but when I saw the test paper, I panicked. Don't blame panic for your failure. I personally taught you the material, wine step by step, and you still failed. His words were like ice, piercing straight through her. One felt a lump from in her throat as she tried to keep her tears at bay. I didn't mean to disappoint you, his tone not softening in the slightest. Disappointment doesn't even cover it. You need to stop making excuses and grow up. One's lips quivered, but she bit down hard to stop herself from sobbing. Jungkook didn't give her a second glance as he turned his back to her. Go to bed. I don't want to hear anything else from you tonight. Feeling crushed, Wine left the room without another word, wiping at the tears that finally spilled down her cheeks. Present. Before Wine could respond, the classroom door opened and in walked Lena, the most popular girl in college. Lena had sleek black hair, flawless makeup, and a confidence that turned heads. She stuttered toward the front of the class, her eyes zeroing in on Jungkook with laser-like eyes. Lena, stopping beside Jungkook's desk, her lips curling into a flirtatious smile. Jungkook, you are looking extra handsome today. Her tone was sugary sweet as she leaned slightly closer, brushing her hair over her shoulder. Wine felt her chest tighten, her eyes narrowed as Lena continued her shameless attempt at flirting. How about you and I grab coffee after class? I'm sure we would have a lot of fun. Her fingers lightly traced the edge of his desk. Jungkook didn't respond immediately. He remained silent, flipping a page in his notebook as if she didn't exist. But his lack of rejection didn't stop Lena. Wine whispering furiously to Olivia, what is she doing? She's always all over him. Olivia giving Wine a knowing smile, someone is jealous. Wine, her cheeks flushing, I'm not jealous, I just. She trailed off, her eyes still glued to the scene at the front. Lena wasn't giving up. She leaned even closer, her voice dropping to a lower, more seductive tone. Come on, Jungkook, don't be so cold. A smile wouldn't hurt, would it? Wine felt like steam was about to come out of her ears. She clenched her fists under the desk, struggling not to march up there and drag Lena away by her perfectly curled hair. Finally, Jungkook's deep voice broke the tension. Move, you are blocking my view. Lena taken aback but quickly covering it with a laugh. You are so serious, I will catch you later. She flipped her hair one last time and sauntered back to her seat, but Wine didn't miss the sight annoyance on her face. Did you see that? He didn't even smile at her. See, he's not interested in her. Maybe you are the one he's really paying attention to, even if he won't show it. Wine's heart fluttered slightly at Olivia's words, but she quickly shook her head, trying to stay focused on class, even if the storm of emotions swirling inside her said otherwise. The lecture ended and Jungkook remained seated at the front, silently packing his bag. Wine hesitated for a moment before walking over. Her heart thudding nervously in her chest. Jungkook, are you still angry with me? Jungkook didn't respond, his hands methodically organizing his books and notes. He was about to stand, but Wine quickly slid into the seat next to him. I really tried my best on that test. I don't want you to be mad at me. Jungkook froze for a moment, his knuckles tightening around the strap of his bag. He still didn't meet her eyes. But his silence spoke louder than words. The classroom had emptied out, leaving just the two of them until Lina, who had lingered near the back, made her move. She sauntered toward them with an icy smile, her eyes narrowing as they locked on mine. You're wasting your time. Jungkook, why are you even talking to her? Wine's eyes widened, but she stayed rooted in her seat. Lina's gaze flicked down to her, filled with contempt. She's useless, can't even pass a simple test. You deserve better company. Wine felt her throat tighten, but before she could say anything, Jungkook's deep, cold voice cut through the air. Enough. Lina's smile faltered. I'm just saying. Finally turning to face her, his dark eyes sharp and unyielding. I said enough. Don't talk to her like that. The weight in his tone made Lina flinch slightly. For a second, she looked like she wanted to argue, but the icy intensity in Jungkook's gaze silenced her. If you have a problem with her, keep it to yourself. Lina's fist clenched at her sides, but she forced a fake smile. Fine, suit yourself. She turned on her heel and stormed out of the classroom, her heels clicking loudly against the floor. The room fell silent once more. Wine stared at Jungkook, her heart pounding in confusion and surprise. You took my side. His expression unreadable as he picked up his bag. Don't get used to it. Without another word, he walked past her, leaving Vine sitting there with a mixture of emotions swirling inside her heart. Confusion, but also a flicker of warmth she couldn't quite explain. Later that evening, the atmosphere in the Joan household was quiet. Jungkook was sitting on the couch, flipping through some documents when Wine timidly entered the living room. Her heart thudded in her chest as she approached him, clutching the hem of her sweater nervously. Jungkook, can I talk to you? Jungkook glanced up from his papers. His eyes held the same coldness from the previous night, but there was a hint of curiosity beneath the surface. What is it? One bite her lip, gathering her courage. I'm sorry for failing the test and for disappointing you. I know you took the time to help me, and I really let you down. Jungkook said nothing, simply watching her. Wine took a small step closer. But I promise I will work harder. I will study more. I won't make excuses anymore. But please don't stay mad at me. Her voice cracked slightly at the end, but she managed to keep her tears at bay. Jungkook set the papers down anymore. After a long pause, I'm not angry anymore. One's eyes widened slightly, his tone still cool but softer than before. Just keep your word. If you are going to promise to work hard, then follow through. I swear, I swear. Jungkook stood and walked past her toward the doorway, but just before leaving the room, he stopped. And take care of yourself and the baby. Wine felt warmth bloom in her chest as his words, even though his tone was still distant. She hurried after him, stopping a few steps behind Jungkook. He turned slightly, his expression unreadable. Thank you for what you did today, for taking my side. Jungkook's gaze softened for a brief second, but the cold mask quickly returned. Don't get used to it. With that, he turned and walked down the hallway, leaving Vine standing there with a small smile on her face. Despite everything, she felt a tiny flicker of hope in her heart.